Before we get into a lot of the details, let me give you a brief background about myself and why I'm so excited to help families address the challenge of paying for their child's education. My name is Sonia Beakley, and I'm a certified college advisor. I've been in the financial services industry for 6 years after spending 17 years in the mortgage industry. In that time, I have seen firsthand the biggest challenge most families face financially is paying for their child's education without sacrificing their retirement. I hope the information I share with you will help you see there are many ways to reduce your out-of-pocket costs for your child's education. At this time, I'd like to ask for your full attention and please for you to turn off your cell phone and your Facebook. I know your time is valuable, as is mine. Your time spent watching this may end up being some of the most valuable time you've ever spent. Starting early is one of the biggest keys to success when it comes to preparing and paying for college. If you're a freshman or a sophomore, you're just in time. If you're a junior or a senior, you're already behind. Either way, it's imperative you don't allow any more time to pass you by. I'm going to go over some of the strategies and procedures that we've been using for over 20 years to help families and students like yourselves prepare and pay for college. We'll cover who gets the most money for college and why, how to turn the process in your favor, and cover some information that is not readily available to the public. During the next 30 minutes, I am going to give you a bunch of free information that you can use to help yourself and your family greatly reduce the amount of out-of-pocket money you will pay for your child's college education. I'm also going to show you how partnering with experts like College Funding Solutions can save you even more. I'm not talking about a one-time little $500 or $1,000 scholarship. I am talking about potentially tens of thousands of dollars in grant money that doesn't have to be repaid. We want to make sure you understand this is not a promise or a guarantee. You have to give us something to work with. For example, if your student gets bad grades, we can't do much to help them. For those who qualify, this can be life-changing, so get your pens and notepads ready. I've got tons of information for you. According to the Department of Education, over half of the students who start college drop out. The three biggest reasons students are forced to drop out of college are changing majors, changing schools, and lack of funds. If they stay in school, it usually costs around 20 grand to change schools and or change majors. If they drop out, that's a lot of wasted money. Nobody wants to watch money go down the drain, yet over 50% of people do it. So how do we avoid this? This webinar is going to give you a lot of free info and things you can implement for yourself. However, this piece of info I'm about to show you may be critical to your student finishing college and doing so without spending any extra money. It is an integral part of our program. The software package that we use to provide these resources is recognized as the leading career planning and college selection software in the country. The software asks hundreds of comprehensive questions, giving us the details that allows the software to create a profile of the student showing the following: what your interests are, what your abilities are, and what your values are. This process helps the student and parent think of ideas for potential fields of study that they may not have thought of before. Once you identify those interests, abilities, and values, you'll have a better chance of finding majors and career paths that will be a better fit. We don't have a crystal ball, but if nothing else, you can eliminate a lot of career paths that would not be a good fit. Remember, you can change your mind about your major while you're in high school and it's free, but once you start college, it isn't free anymore. Once you have a field of study in mind, then the college search and selection process begins. With over 3,200 accredited colleges in the country, we would help you sift through and find the right fit. There are a lot of factors that go into picking the right schools. Obviously, your field of study is one. Do you want a big school or a small school? Would you prefer to be closer to home or further away? And how about the student-to-professor ratio? What if you had a freshman-level psychology class with over 300 students in it and you couldn't even see the professor? Would you be okay with that? These are things you really need to think about. Careful thought and planning ahead can help avoid changing schools and changing majors. So the first thing College Funding Solutions offers is their awesome software program, which helps people focus and saves them time and money. Okay, note takers, get ready. We're going to talk about the three things that college is. First of all, it's essential, it's also expensive, and it is a business. The first thing is that a college education in today's economy is essential. You basically have to have one to compete in the workplace. Now, I know there's a lot of jobs out there that do not require a college degree, but typically they do not pay as well as the ones that do. If you ever want to be promoted or you want to move up the ladder, then you must have that degree. I have people tell me all the time they have more on-the-job training and more experience than other people, but they've been passed over for a promotion because they don't have a college degree. The Census Bureau statistics show that a college graduate will earn twice as much over their lifetime as a student with only a high school diploma. In addition, a student graduating from a Tier 1 college will earn almost 8 times as much on average as a student with only a high school diploma. The next thing you need to understand is that college is expensive. You obviously all realize that, or you wouldn't be watching this right now. Here are some of the colleges and universities in my area. I've listed some of both of their in-state and out-of-state tuitions. Some of them were a little hard to find. As you can see, the tuition has definitely skyrocketed over the last few years. Look at some of those Ivy League schools. Harvard is almost $83,000 per year. One of the things I'm going to show you today is that you shouldn't let the price tag scare you. Many of the students who have worked with College Funding Solutions have been able to attend these schools for the same price they would normally pay to go to a state school. So just keep watching and I will show you how we do it. The third thing you need to understand is that college is a business, a huge business. Now we're going to talk a lot about endowments. Here is the online definition. An endowment is money donated to a college or university. Right now there are just over 60 colleges with endowment funds over $1 billion. That's a billion with a B. There are over 300 schools who have endowment funds over $100 million. I'm not here to make the colleges sound like the bad guys. The colleges aren't the bad guys, but they aren't your friend either. They're in business. Their goal is to attract the students that would be the best fit for their community and get mom and dad to pay as much of the bill as possible and still get the student to attend. You need to understand that when colleges award funding to a student, they don't look at it as a handout. They look at it as an investment. Those who get the funding awarded to them are those who make themselves the most attractive in the form of good grades, test scores, and extracurricular activities. But those who get the most funding are those who know how to ask for it. So now let's talk about some of the strategies and some of the steps involved to try and get more money from the college or university that you want to attend. Some of you may have the talent and desire to go to a Tier 1 school like Duke, Stanford, or Yale University. These schools are going to run anywhere between $50,000 and $85,000 per year. Don't let the big price tag scare you. If you know how to navigate the process, or if you have someone helping you who knows the system, then many times you can go to one of these types of schools if you can get in for about the same out-of-pocket money that you can go to a local state school. Now, I know that may not make a lot of sense to you because one costs around $20,000 to $30,000 a year and the other costs between $60,000 and $85,000 per year, but those are just the sticker prices, and the sticker price often has very little to do with what you actually spend out of pocket. You want to compare apples to apples. We kind of compare it to buying a new car. How many of you pay sticker price for a new car? It's the same thing with a college education. You don't have to pay sticker price. Not everyone should go to an Ivy League school. Just don't let the price tag scare you away. So now you're probably wondering, where is all this free stuff I promised, right? Now that I have laid the groundwork and shown you that college tuition is totally negotiable, I'm now going to show you some things you can do to take advantage of that. Okay, here's golden nugget number 1. When applying to schools, never ever let your top picks know they are your top picks. How? Apply to more than 6 schools even though you don't want to go to those 6 schools. Why? Every school knows about every other school you have applied to. It's all about competition. If you only apply to one or two schools, they will know you really want to go to their school and won't give you much in the way of grant money. Some schools approve 6 times more freshmen than they know will actually attend. If the financial aid office at a school knows you're only applying to their school, what motivation do they have to give you any funding? They know you're coming one way or the other, and that will affect your offer of funding. One of the things College Funding Solutions does is to look at the conversion rate. That is the number of students who were offered admission that actually attend. We look at this because it will give us an idea of how tough the school will be to negotiate with when it comes time to appeal your offer. College Funding Solutions does all of the research on every school, and they know exactly how many freshmen each school selected the prior year. This information is not readily available to the public. College Funding Solutions pays handsomely to acquire it. With the free tips I give you here, you can definitely do this on your own, but if you enlist the help of College Funding Solutions, your savings could be exponentially higher because of this one little bit of knowledge they pay to acquire. The earlier you start, the earlier you can determine your field of study and the schools that would be the best fit. Through our services, you'll receive access to the nation's premier college and selection software to help you navigate the colleges that are out there and match up with the ones that offer the best funding packages. As you can see, effective career planning and college search and selection strategies are keys to success when it comes to getting the best education at the best price. The students who start early on their career planning and college selection will almost always make better decisions than students who try to cram it into their senior year. Students who start the process earlier have the best advantage. With our system, you'll have access to one of the nation's premier PSAT, SAT, and ACT test prep courses. It's called Naviance. It retails for $1,200 and is included in our program. Naviance offers the student much more than high school test prep programs. It allows the student to take the test over and over, each time recreating a new test, focusing on the weaknesses, making them strengths. The students who work with us end up increasing their test scores by an average of 200 points. This results in an average increase of $5,000 per year in grant money. Okay, we've talked about some steps to help avoid changing majors and changing schools. Now let's talk about the funding. You'll see as we go through this that they're really all related. Now you need to understand the 3 different sources of funding. They are government, college and university, and private sector. Within these 3 sources of funding, there's 2 types of financial aid: gift aid and self-help aid. The gift aid is comprised of grants and scholarships, which do not have to be paid back, and self-help aid is comprised of work study or loans, which do have to be paid back. These funds may be merit-based, need-based, or non-need-based.